It's the morning of day 30. Feeling a little stressed. It's Monday morning and it's the end of the year. Bookkeeping. It's just kind of like trying to merge all of my worlds at once and recognize responsibilities as well as priority, and just feeling a little bit emotional, trying to juggle it all. So good news is that my grandma seems slightly better today, so that's encouraging. I think the loose plan at this point is we're booked here for another night, and I think it sounds like the family has planned rotations to make sure that someone is here at least for the next week or so. So I think we're going to head back, either start heading back tonight or just straight shot it tomorrow to be in my new home, Austin, for Christmas, to be there with my tribe mates, my housemates, and then we may come back. So it's like about a 16-hour drive. I don't know what Christmas traffic is going to be like, so part of me wonders about leaving tonight, but I also want to see my grandma and just see what the doctors have to say today and feel it out. But now I'm also recognizing, like, I've got to carve out some time to get caught up on work because it's really time dependent on trying to close out the year. I kind of knew that I was going to go into the holidays with a lot of work because I did 50% more work this year. So that's a lot. Okay, I got an encouraging update. My grandma was a little bit more with it today, and the doctors and nurses came in today, and my grandpa and my mom feel like they're all on a better page, which is good. I mean, yesterday was Sunday, so there was not much presence of doctors or nurses, which I think was frustrating, with my grandma just seemingly so much worse yesterday. But she did sleep a lot yesterday, and hopefully now having more staff today, things might be looking a little bit up. So I am spending the morning trying to catch up on some work while my mom and grandpa are at the hospital, and then we will go in around lunchtime to give them a break, spend some time with my grandma, moment by moment. But I'm encouraged that things are a little better today, because it's kind of like feeling like pulled in many directions of just no idea on timeline of things, like how severe this is, like it's like the reality that life is continuing in many directions at once, and at the same time it feels like sometimes life just stops and pauses, and in some ways I wish that life would stop and pause and allow for just the space to be present. And I guess that's the whole point of living ceremony, is just to make choices and be present for those choices. So I was feeling some stress and pressure this morning. I think like being so present sometimes means that, like, when I laid down last night, I had some more stuff running through my head of just the hard parts, the emotional grieving parts, the place where you just don't want to see someone who's so strong be so weak. But I also recognize there's like some interesting synchronicities of like how much I pretty much daily think about Ram Dass, but just like, you know, wearing the Be Here Now hat and feeling his presence, and then finding out, not knowing that yesterday was the day that he left his body 5 years ago. So that just was like a really interesting noticing of a synchronicity that I had been speaking about him, and yeah, just something to celebrate and kind of bring a different perspective on all of this. Just trying to really integrate some of the lessons from the course I've been taking, the Elixir of Immortality, which is like the Buddhist and shamanism approach to death and dying, and really recognizing the opportunity to work on my relationship with that, as well as my teacher Ram Dass and his views and all these different perspectives, and recognizing that now, working through a shamanism lens, fear is the enemy of the shaman. So it was kind of an interesting thing noticing yesterday that, like, I have had some very traumatic experiences in hospitals, and I used to like practically have a panic attack just even thinking about going to the hospital, let alone getting to the hospital. And then I have like a trauma response, or I've had a trauma response to the smell of the hospital soap. I know, if you know, you know, like, it is just not pleasant. But like, I recognized yesterday that I have done enough work that I was not having those trauma responses, and that I was able to just sit and be, and it's not a pleasant place to be. The sounds, the smells, the noises, the sterileness, it doesn't feel like a very healing environment to me. Someone who's very much more holistic and woo-woo. You know, the lack of color. But I also noticed that I was much more available to something beyond. I mean, that's a lot of what the course has been about, is working in the beyonds and recognizing there are beyonds. So how perfectly synchronistic to end up doing the holographic sound healing training at the same time, because working with the holograms is working in the in-between, and it's hard to put it all into words. You kind of just have to experience it, and you go through the learning process, and then it's much more than just reading or comprehending something. It is the experience. So this is like just a jam-packed time in my life to learn, to experience, and to integrate, and to notice that, thank God I have shown up. Thank God for the support of my tribe family and the encouragement and the safety I feel to be able to do this work at this time and be here now. Just leaving the hospital to start heading back to Austin. My grandma's doing better today, but it's definitely just hard to leave. I think she's gonna be okay for a little while, but I don't know. It's hard to know what to do, but I go back to my new home for Christmas, and then we may come back. So, one moment at a time. All right, packing up the hotel and heading out. It's hard, but I know I'm leaving things in a better state than than when we set out, and it just feels pretty clear that my timing was really right for this to be a bit of a bridge from when my grandma was not doing well to when she was really not doing well to now it's feeling a little bit better. So just one moment, one day at a time. It'll be nice to be home in Austin for Christmas, and the surprise of getting to see some of my family I didn't think I was going to see. And then who knows what's next for the next week and the next several days. I may turn right around and come back to Indiana, but for now, I feel okay to head home to Austin.